We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
All right, Brian. It's going to be the last one.
Okay.
Brian has an AT&T cable box Xbox One S and Amazon Fire TV connected via HDMI to his Yamaha RX-A 850 AV receiver. He then runs one HDMI cable from his Yamaha to his Vizio M Series TV. Recently, regardless of the source and seemingly at random times, the video will freeze while the audio continues on. If he turns off his Yamaha and then turns it back on, things seem to be fine. This wasn't happening before. Do we think his Yamaha has developed an HDMI board problem? I don't know. I mean, this is really weird.
I mean, the troubleshooting I would do would
So
be to
much
connect your
troubleshooting.
sources
Yeah.
directly to the TV and see if this happens.
He said it happens with regardless of source, so it's coming.
Yeah, but they're all his sources are going into the Yamaha. I mean, like shutting down the Yamaha and turning it back on, that's doing a whole new HDMI handshake.
That's the handshake thing.
We don't know if the problem is in your TV or in your Yamaha, and if you just connect your sources directly to your TV, take the Yamaha out of the signal chain, and you still get a freezing picture, well, then you know it's not your Yamaha, you know it's your TV, right? That's the only troubleshooting we can do, though.
Can't he turn off the source instead of the Yamaha and see it? But that still reinstitutes a whole new handshake.
Well, I mean, we know it's probably not all three of his sources doing this.
Yeah.
That would be insane. So it's either the Yamaha
Or the TV.
HDMI switching, or it's the TV. So all you can do is diagnose which of those two devices is having this problem.
I miss the days of component cables when you could just change the cable, see what happens, get back to us. Now
But I
we
mean,
can't do that
basically,
anymore.
if you take your sources, plug them directly into your Vizio, and the image freezes, well, then you go, okay, it's a problem with my TV. I got to get the TV repaired. If it never freezes, but it does as soon as you put the Yamaha back in the signal chain, then yeah, your Yamaha's got a problem. And you got to get your Yamaha fixed. That's all we can say on that.
But that null hypothesis, dude, waiting for something to happen and
I
it
know.
not happening, you will never know. You'll never know for sure.
Especially since it says it's like at random times.
Random times. Like, you got to be able to recreate it somehow. Like,
That's right.
figure out a way to make it happen. Switch sources real fast or something. So what are our thoughts on the Outlaw Audio Ultra-X12 subwoofer? Sometimes they go on sale with duals for $1,100 or $1,000 for two. Would they be a good choice when those sales happen? Boy, I looked those things up, didn't I? Did I look those up? Yes, I did.
They're basically an HSU VTF3.
Yes, that's a good sub.
Basically what they are. Yeah, no, not the current 3 with the 15-inch driver, but the little bit older VTF3. Or you could consider it a slightly beefed up VTF2.
Yeah, this is another one that rolls off around 25, right?
Only if you have both ports open with the tuning to the maximum output setting, because you can plug one of those ports to have more extension at the cost of some output.
Yeah, but the extension, I mean, if you take the full, I guess the negative 3 dB point would be around,
It's like minus 19.
guess, yeah, 19.
It's like 19. Yeah, no. This is a great sub.
Yeah.
We've recommended it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say all the time, but yeah, it comes up.
Yeah.
And particularly, yeah, I do see those sales happen semi-frequently, and they're a great value then. So yeah, look at the HSU VTF2, beef it up just a little bit. That's what this one is.
Yeah. It's good stuff. I'll be all
Very
right
nice.
with that. So what are our thoughts on Tekton speakers?
Worse now.
Yeah. What's going on with them?
Worse now than they used to be.
I used to not have a problem with these guys. They used to be
I
all
know.
right. They used to be fine.
This is one of the lead designers from AVRant formerly. He left AVRant and started Tekton.
That's right. And then, so Ted
And then
was
apparently
asking.
went nuts.
Yeah. Ted was asking that on Facebook that they put out a new multi-tweeter array designs that have been issued a new patent that Tekton claims proves. All right.
Just because they got a patent.
Let me say you something right here.
Patents prove nothing.
You better not. You better really have some evidence behind you when you say the word prove.
Yeah.
All right? Prove. Especially when you say that your new patent proves that all prior speaker designs are obsolete.
Yeah. And I love this. What is the phrase he used? I've got to find it. But yeah, he's there's some that aren't. Subtly obsolete. What the heck does that mean? Subtly obsolete?
Yes, subtly. I'm like, how could it be a subtle obsolescence? I don't.
Obsolete is a pretty on-off thing. I mean, you're either obsolete or you're not.
All right,
I don't
so
know what subtly obsolete means.
This new design of theirs is basically he's claiming it's an array. It's a line array. It looks an awful lot like it's not, because I know what a line array looks like, and he's
not saying line array. He's
calling them an array of tweeters. So there's 2, 4, 6, 7 tweeters.
One in the middle, surrounded by 6 others to create a hexagon.
Yes, and there's a woofer above and a woofer below, and sort of a very oddly shaped.
And there's a couple different ones that use this. So he's got one where it's the 7 tweeter bundle thingy, and then 2 8-inch drivers below it. So there's a few different designs.
So he got a patent, and it's really long and boring to read. But basically, the idea is that he's using low mass drivers.
Yes.
Because if you use a driver that has more mass than the thing it was that created the sound,
i.e. your vocal cords or the string on a violin or some such thing,
that cannot, by definition, create the right sound. Can't do it.
Yeah.
It has to have the same mass. So he has a bunch of small drivers, because none of these drivers look bigger than 6.5 inches, from what I'm seeing. Not
in the one design, but then he has that other one that uses two 8-inch drivers.
Yeah, whatever. Crazy as crazy does. So this is what the idea is, and this is the kind of logic that really sells well if you're selling speakers that cost how much they cost right here? $33,000.
Aren't even that bad, but
$2,750, which is fine. But these actually works a lot better if you would sell these speakers for like $27,000.
Yeah, that's right.
$500. So you need to add a 0 onto these and make them not nearly as god awful ugly as they are right now, because these things are the kind of ugly that make you wince when you look at them. One of those when somebody hands you their kid, said, "This might you try." You go, "Ooh, oh hi, oh she's yeah." That's not what you want.
Take the grills off; it's got the spider eyes looking at you.
I mean, you couldn't have rounded a corner. You couldn't have done something to make it not look like a big, like something that would lie down the back of a truck bed and make the truck bounce. I mean, that's what it looks like. It's terrible. Right. It's a terrible design.
But what the patent talks about is that that array of tweeters, which of course the tweeters have very low mass.
Yes.
They're actually playing like full range. They're playing all the way down into the bass.
Yeah.
That's one of the ideas. Now, I don't know why you then need additional woofers, but I guess it's for extra bass reinforcement, because he does talk about crossing over higher mass woofers to lower mass drivers, with the low mass drivers handling all the harmonics and upper frequencies, which is how speakers already work. Any multi-way speaker. But apparently this is a different thing.
Different thing.
So here's the thing. Maybe these speakers sound fine.
No idea.
There's no reason why they couldn't.
They could sound fantastic.
What is it? What is that? XTZ company?
Yeah.
Right? Using the 4 bundled tweeters, and essentially using the 4 tweeters all together as the mid-range driver, and then only one of them plays the highest frequencies.
Right.
And it seems like it's kind of a similar thing here. Only the one in the middle is playing the highest, and the other ones are playing lower frequencies together. Okay. So there's no particular reason why that can't be an effective speaker.
Yeah.
What's horrible is what he's written about. I mean, just ridiculous claims. I mean, literally saying, if you are someone who plays music, you cannot live without these speakers. Like, just shut up.
Yeah.
Come on. That's me saying that. It's pretty harsh coming from me. That's ridiculous stuff. He also apparently, I mean, I know that Eric Alexander knows how sound works, but if you read this, you would think he doesn't.
That's true.
Because everything in here is saying, I mean, this... so he goes on to talk about how subwoofers can't work because subwoofer drivers are too big and heavy. So if you, say, pluck the low E string on a double bass, a stand-up bass that's a 41 hertz fundamental, but all the harmonics that make it sound like a double bass and everything are much higher than that, that's all true.
Yep.
But that a subwoofer can't do that because it's too big and heavy. Well, that's why we cross it over to a like, you don't play your subwoofer full range. Who's playing their subwoofer full range and expecting it to produce all the sounds? That's insane.
Lee's doing that, I think.
No, even he's not doing that. But that aside, the entire premise that somehow sound waves care about the weight of the thing that produced them is ridiculous. It's patently false. Sound waves can be broken down into individual sine waves. That's why the Fourier transform works. You can take any complex sound wave that is a huge mishmash of different frequencies with different phases and all types of stuff, and you look at it and it's one gigantic jumble on your oscilloscope or in your graph. You can break that down mathematically to individual perfect sine waves. That 41 hertz fundamental tone, it's in there. All the harmonics above it, they're in there. You can separate them all mathematically. All right. Now, if you read what he's written, apparently you can't. Apparently that's impossible. No, you can. You can absolutely. Everything is a combination of perfect sine waves. All sound can be described that way. So to say that you can't then use a proper crossover to have high frequencies produced by a high frequency driver and low frequencies produced by a low frequency driver, that's just false. So, yeah, he got a patent on it because the patent office issues stupid stuff like the thing that practically took podcasts off the air because someone said, if you play things in order off the internet, I have a patent on that. That doesn't prove anything.
Yeah.
That's a stupid patent that should never have been issued. This is another dumb patent. So that's what that proves.
Yeah, he's been throwing around this word "prove" quite a bit. He says the laws of physics
and
prove
he also italicizes patent every time it shows up on his website.
Prove
really
that subwoofers cannot be musical, nor can it even begin to produce the harmonic spectra of Fender bass guitar.
No, not full range. You're right. I wouldn't use a gigantic 18-inch driver to produce 20 kilohertz. That's insane.
Right. I mean, it's just I don't quite understand what this is. I mean, this
is an idea he had. He managed to get a patent on it, so now he's selling it. But he's selling it like why? Why does he feel it necessary to do this?
This, right?
You came up with an alternative to a mid-range driver. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's an alternative to a mid-range driver. And if you want to patent that so that other people can't copy you without paying you a royalty, I'm all for it. That is totally fine. You created an alternative to the mid-range driver.
He's got
cool.
a kind of almost a concentric design here because he's got the tweeter in the center, and the rest of it creates the one mid-range.
Yeah,
so
that's fine. And if that's what you were claiming, you're like, I came up with what I think is a better solution to the standard mid-range driver. This can play lower than a low-mass mid-range driver, which it should be able to, right? And it can cross over better to the single tweeter that I've put in the middle of this array. If that's what you want to say, I'm all for it. And if that were the description, I'd be like, cool, maybe it sounds great, maybe it doesn't, I don't know, but I have zero problem with the patent. What I have a problem with is this stupid marketing that he's written on his website, making these ridiculous claims that are just false. Why do that? That's the part I don't understand.
I don't understand any of these speakers I'm looking at on his. I'm like looking around at all these speakers. I'm like, what am I looking at here? They're like 3 tweeters in a line. I'm like, what am I looking at here? I mean,
miniature line arrays and stuff. I mean,
okay. First of all,
Tekton is all about high output, high efficiency.
What he's talking,
rather than using horns, he's using multi tweeters.
I understand that. Yeah. But one of the things that kind of bothers me with this whole kind of discussion. We're way over time here. I should be done.
I know.
Is especially because he's talking about low mass. Oh, low mass with the low mass. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you forget that there was such a thing as a line array? That line arrays are often like 2-inch or 1.5-inch drivers, but like 30 of them that were all playing together.
I mean, the reason low mass would matter is inertia.
Yeah.
Right? The problem is inertia, not mass. Now, if
talk about low mass, how about electrostatic speakers? How about that for low mass?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I guess they're only subtly obsolete.
Because that's right, because they don't have the little tweeter thing sticking out the middle of their
the problem
radiator.
is inertia, and it's very difficult. If you have a 50-pound mass that you're shaking back and forth, it is it takes more force to stop that thing from moving than it would something that weighs 1/10 of a gram. That is just a factual statement. Yes, it takes more force to stop it.
Which is why we put ginormous magnets on them and lots of amplifier power.
If I have the force available, I can still do it. Right. It takes more force. There's no question there.
Yes.
But it can still be done. There's no reason a 300-gram driver can't start and stop just as fast as a 0.1-gram driver.
Right.
It will take exponentially more force to do so, but you can still do it.
Force equals to mass times acceleration. So
there you go.
All you need is more force to stop that greater mass.
Yeah.
All that matters.
So this whole claim, like, again, he got a patent on it, and if it was just the idea of, instead of using mid-range drivers, I'm going to use a bunch of tweeters in this particular shape so that they can play even lower than your standard mid-range driver, I'm like, cool, have a patent for that. But claiming that the mass must be equal to, or he says it's fine if it's twice as much, but not if it's more than twice as much. Like, the patent office doesn't understand this stuff. They give patents to all kinds of stupid stuff, and these claims are ridiculous.
Yeah. Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.